Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football postgame show. Well, it was kind of a lopsided Thursday night football game last night, and and 4 days was all the Las Vegas Raiders had to recover from their worst performance of the season. They made the most of their time. The Raiders turned in their best performance of the season Thursday night, responded to a Sunday's 3-0 loss to Minnesota by scoring 42 points by halftime, not letting the Los Angeles Chargers across midfield until the third quarter and rolling to a record-setting 63-21 victory over the LA Chargers last night. We were kicking butt, said Raiders cornerback Jack Jones, who returned an interception for a touchdown. The Raiders set a franchise scoring record, topping the team's 59-14 victory at Denver on October 24th, 2010. It was the most points allowed by the Chargers, who gave up 57 to the St. Louis Rams on October 1st, 2000. We knew at halftime what the record was. Las Vegas interim coach Antonio Pierce said, "We wanted to be aggressive regardless of what the score was. And if we had a 21 or a 10, we were going to be aggressive, but that was our mindset." The Raiders led 42-0 at halftime, just 3 points shy of the NFL record for halftime. That was set in 2009 when New England led Tennessee 45-0. The 42 margin has been matched. Two other teams by Green Bay over Chicago in 2014 and the Packers over Tampa Bay in 1983. Las Vegas also broke its previous record for a half, which was 38 against the Broncos in that 2010 game. The halftime deficit was the biggest in Chargers history. They trailed Patriots 31-0 in 1997. We got our butts kicked. Los Angeles Chargers running back Austin Elker said, "That's all I got for you." It was a stunning turnaround for the Raiders, who are now 6-8, who gave up only a field goal Sunday against Minnesota, but still lost, amassing 202 yards. Las Vegas had 283 yards by halftime against the Chargers, who are fall to 5-9 in the season. The Raiders led 63-7 before two late touchdowns for LA. It shows the resilience we have as a group, and said Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams, who caught 8 passes for 101 yards and a touchdown, his first 100-yard game since week 3 against Pittsburgh. You can easily let something like that get in your head and throw off the rest of the season. To bounce back in just a short amount of time in front of you, that's the type of response we're going to need. Aiden O'Connell threw all 4 of his touchdown passes in the first half, and he finished with 248 yards passing. Las Vegas defense scored second-half touchdowns on a fumble recovery interception, the first time the Raiders scored 2 defensive touchdowns since 2006 against the Steelers. Los Angeles quarterback Easton Stick, making his first start in place of injured Justin Herbert, completed 23 of 32 passes for 257 yards with 3 touchdowns and an interception. The heat figures to be turned up on the Chargers. Coach Brandon Staley, who was fired today after that loss last night, he was fired this morning, and he was fired this morning, and he is now. And after his team got blown out by a team that was on a 3-game losing streak. Los Angeles has lost 5 of 6 games. The Chargers were very sloppy, turning the ball over 3 times in the first half. Each led to a Raiders touchdown. And yes, Brandon Staley was fired today. We just didn't have a good game tonight, Staley said. We didn't have it from the beginning to the end. It's just one of those games where nothing went right for us. We've got a good group of guys, but it was just one of those games where all three phases, uh, the worst thing happened for us tonight. It's a reflection on all of us. Las Vegas was comfortable enough to run three successive gadget plays at one point in the second quarter. Uh, Wide receiver Jacoby Myers completed a pass to Adams. Receiver Receiver the Tree Tucker, excuse me, was given the ball on a running play, and then Brandon Bolden scored a 26-yard run out of the Wildcat formation. It was his first touchdown since late in the 2021 season. To open the second half, uh, Myers hooked up with Adams again, this time on a 3-yard touchdown pass for a 49 to nothing lead. Maybe Myers is going after O'Connell's job. Maybe he better be on it because I'm coming. I'm coming, Myers said jokingly. Los Angeles finally broke through on its next possession when Stick found Joshua Palmer for a 79-yard touchdown. That was the first time the Chargers made it past the 50. And there were some injuries. Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen had a heel injury and did not play. Linebacker Kenneth Murray had a shoulder injury and went out in the second quarter, but returned. Quarterback Essang Bassi left with a concussion, and cornerback and guard Will Clapp with a knee injury. For the Raiders, they had some injuries. Running back Josh Jacobs had quadriceps. Left tackle, excuse me, not lieutenant, left tackle Quilton Miller had a shoulder injury, and center Andre James had an ankle injury. They did not play. Linebacker Devane Diablo suffered an ankle injury, and those are the guys that did not play. And so right now, up next, the Chargers host Buffalo next Saturday on December 23rd, and the Raiders have an AFC rival with Kansas City on Christmas Day. So this was one of those games where the home team really was aggressive and made the plays, and the opposing team, the visiting team, just could not get the job done. They got blown out, but did not score until the third and fourth quarter. So I got to give the game balls to the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell, uh, uh, 20 of 34 carries and attempts, 248 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Devontae Adams, 8 receptions, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, and I think it's Zamir White. 17 attempts, 89 yards, 1 touchdown. So this was just one of those games where the home team just had it from the get-go. And as I mentioned, you heard me mention when I was giving the highlights there that Chargers head coach Brandon Staley was fired this morning, and he got and he was uh and the Chargers fired him, and and everybody had a feeling that the Chargers head coach was going to get fired by the time. And I think everybody had a feeling that the Chargers head coach was going to get fired. And that's exactly what happened this morning. Is that and Brandon Staley had been struggling, and he had been struggling with this team. And and I can tell you right now, yes, and I have just come up with the story, and I'm going to read it to you right now because they've just. I'm trying to get it. There we go. Okay. The Los Angeles. I am having some technical problems here. I am sorry. Los Angeles Chargers have fired head coach Brandon Staley and general manager Tom Talisco. The wake of the team's 63 to 21 Thursday loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport initially reported the news today. The team later announced the moves, and I would like to thank Tom and Brandon for their hard work and dedication and uh, professionalism, and wish them both and their families nothing but the best, said Chargers owner Dean Spanos. These decisions are never easy, nor are they something I take lightly, especially when you consider the number of people they impact. We are clearly not where we expect to be. However, we need new vision. Doing nothing in the name of continuity was not a risk I was willing to take. I was willing to take. Our fans have stood strong through so many ups and downs and close games. They deserve more. Frankly, they've earned more. Building and maintaining a championship caliber program remains our ultimate goal, and uh, reemerging how we achieve reimagining, excuse me, how we achieve that goal begins today. The Chargers name uh, Gibbs Smith as an interim head coach and JoJo Wooden as an interim general manager for the remainder of the 2023 season. Smith, Smith, the Chargers outside linebackers coach, has been with the club since 2016. Wooden joined the Chargers in 2013 as the director of player personnel. Chargers defensive run game coordinator slash defensive line coach Jay Rogers was also relieved of his duties on Friday, the team announced. So, and this was really, I think we knew, this is the Chargers' first in-season firing of a head coach since Kevin Gilbride was dismissed in 1998. The talent laden Chargers that sit at 5-9, losing 5 of their last 6 games and clinching their first losing season of Staley's tenure. Staley leaves LA with a 24-24 record and 2 winning seasons and 1 playoff berth that ended in a historic disaster. Thursday's blowout loss, which the Chargers trailed by a franchise worst 42 points at halftime, was the latest calamity. Los Angeles is impacted both sides of the ball before he was lost for the season on Sunday with a fractured index finger on his throwing franchise hand. Franchise quarterback Justin Herbert posted career worst in team points per game, 21.7 record, 5.8 completion percentage, 65.1 and passing yards, and per game 241.1. On defense, the Chargers ranked 29th, in yards allowed, 27th in points allowed, entering Thursday after finishing in the bottom half of the NFL in total and scoring defense in prior 2 seasons was Staley, picked from Sean McVay coaching tree to helm the Chargers ahead of the 2021 season. Staley was a defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. In 2020, he maintained defensive play calling duties throughout his time with the Chargers. Staley's uh, uh, ouster came nearly a year after a postseason collapse capped a tumultuous uh, uh, tumultuous 2022 after fighting their way from a 6-6 record for a 10-7 finish and wild card playoff berth. The Chargers blew a 27-0 first half lead against the Jacksonville Jaguars in their wild card round game. The Jaguars went on to win 31-30, orchestrating the third largest comeback in NFL postseason history at the expense of the Chargers, who coughed up the largest blown lead in franchise history. Ahead of that 2022 season, the Chargers signed quarterback J.C. Jackson to a 5-year, $82.5 million contract. Jackson appeared in seven games with the team before being traded to the New England Patriots this year, limited by injury and woes and an apparent failure to mesh with Stanley's defense. The Bolts also traded to acquire Khalil Mack, who is producing an all-time season in 2023. He has 15 sacks and 5 forced fumbles, both league highs that largely have been wasted. The team's poor defensive performance comes despite the fact that the defensive players on the Chargers roster account for $98.1 million against the salary cap in 2023, which is the third most in the NFL according to Sport Track, excuse me. Telesco, the architect of the Chargers roster, was let go amid his 11th season. Amid his 11th season with the club, when he was hired in 2013, he took over for longtime GM A.J. Smith, who'd been in that role since 2003. Staley was the third head coach Telesco hired during his tenure. The Chargers drafted a total of 8 Pro Bowlers, and with Telesco at the helm, including notable players like Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa, and Derwin James and Herbert. LA went 84-92 in the regular season and earned a 2.3 record in playoff appearances during Telesco's reign as GM. He leaves behind 8 players that will carry the 2024 cap hits of $10 million plus, including 4 with North $32 million per NFL research. Following the epic postseason collapse in 2022, and a season that has come off the rails in 2023, there is plenty of work ahead for the franchise in the wake of dismissing Staley and Telesco. So he has both the GM and coach of the San Diego Chargers, Tom Telesco, and head coach Brandon Staley were fired by the Chargers this morning. So I just wanted to catch you up on that, and we've got plenty of NFL action coming up this weekend, and that starts with Saturday, Minnesota and Chicago. It's the early game at 1:00. The 4:30 game, the late afternoon game, Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts. And Saturday night at an 8:20 start, the Denver Broncos at the Detroit Lions. The Browns host the Bears this Sunday. Hopefully we can win that one. Atlanta plays Carolina in Atlanta. Tampa Bay at Green Bay at legendary Lambeau Field. The New York Jets travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. The New York Giants travel to the Superdome in New Orleans. to take on the Saints. Houston travels to Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee to take on the Titans. Kansas City travels to Foxborough to Gillette Stadium to take on New England. The San Francisco 49ers play the Arizona Cardinals at State Farm Stadium. The Commanders travel to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California to play the Rams. Dallas travels to Buffalo to play the Bills at Highmark Stadium. Baltimore travels to Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. And the Philadelphia Eagles travel to Lumen Field in Seattle on Monday Night Football to play the Seattle Seahawks. So we got a great amount of football. I'll be back with the Saturday NFL, Scott Sports 101 Saturday NFL games podcast. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.